Let me tell you a story about creative leadership. I first met Dr. Graeme Sullivan, a scholar from Down Under, in the summer of 1999 as I was taking a doctoral course at Teachers College, Columbia University, titled Writing for Publication. What was modeled for me during that coursework and in the relationship that deepened thereafter were ideas and practices worth chasing after. And like the young Telemachus in Homer's Odyssey, I was starting out on this journey of discovery. And the wise old man in my story was willing to accompany me on parts of that journey, uh, fully aware of the difficulties that I would face, yet willing to show me ample evidence of his trust that I would thrive in the wide open fields before us. Because you see, it was also his journey. Alongside me in that field, he offered me a rare mantle of trust, asking me to serve as his editorial assistant during his term um, as senior editor of the Studies in Art Education, which is a research journal. And these were the early seeds of creative leadership in my own career as they were just beginning to blossom. And that's where I also first learned to separate myself from that which so easily hinders, and to focus on tasks that were frankly beyond me, namely, in this case, of the urgent business of my mentor as he served the larger art education community. Now, not long after that, I was scheduled to give my first public research presentation at the 2001 National Art Education Association convention, um, based on a paper that I had written. And I was on edge. I was also quite late. Unfortunately, though, I was riding with Graham in a cab, and that we took over to New York City's Hilton, and he was able to settle me down by telling me stories of hot air balloons that he used to paint in Australia. The presentation itself was a bit of a juggling act, involving a video excerpt introduction from the Ken Burns documentary series titled Jazz, uh, some overhead transparencies, and a snippet from a CD recording of Dizzy Gillespie's Manteca, um, a jazz recording, all as a segue to my own concluding remarks. Now, there in the Trianon Ballroom, swimming in a sea of chandeliered space, as a first-time presenter, inexplicably allotted the largest room on the convention guide map for the what had to have been the smallest audience. One by one, on my cue, Graham turned the pages of my PowerPoint transparencies, and I attempted to keep pace with Graham as he attempted to keep pace with me. Now, I once asked Graham why he sometimes wears rubber bands around his upper arms or at the cuffs of his shirt sleeves. Um, uh, and he explained to me in response that the shirts that fit his torso, those that he is fated to wear, um, usually conspire against him, uh, given the short length of his arms and the limitations of his own natural reach. They sort of like fall past his wrists and over his hands. Uh, but yet, in the Trianon Ballroom, in spite of the bindings at his cuffs to keep his sleeves in place, Graham just demonstrated for me that his reach was, in fact, extraordinary, and that his was a character of leadership worth targeting. And I've worked with great purpose ever since then to converge with this model of creative leadership. Um, this model that was first offered to me that afternoon in that ballroom during that presentation.